The corridor between the Libra equinox and Aries full supermoon is very supportive to seeing the intentions you set during the new moon in Virgo manifest in physical reality. And the energies are really favorable to just about any kind of manifestation you can think of. Welcome to Abundant Universe, the podcast that's all about you. Here we talk about your spiritual activation, awakening, and ascension, as well as your personal path to mindfully manifesting your most magical, fulfilling, abundant, and prosperous reality through quantum physics, ancient spiritual teachings, mysticism, and all things esoteric. I'm your personal energy alchemist, spiritual activator, quantum healer, mindful manifestation mentor, and host, Elle Brandlin. And today we're talking about how to keep the manifestation magic you started during the new moon in Virgo going strong so you can use the corridor between the Libra equinox and the full supermoon in Aries to literally transport yourself to a new reality. So stick around until the end to learn everything you need to know about using these very potent, powerful, and intense energies to manifest major miracles, because you can truly find yourself in a much higher vibrational reality at the other end of this corridor if you utilize them for your greatest and highest good, which is why I'm about to tell you how to do it. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening so you never miss a transformational and transportational episode. And if you're on YouTube, please like the video so the algorithm will show it to other people who are ready to shift into a new reality right now. And leave a comment about how these energies have been treating you, because they're very similar to what the Virgo new moon brought us. So I'm super curious about that. And before we dive in today, I just want to quickly mention that you can get my personal help utilizing all of these energies we're about to talk about to quantum jump timelines so you don't have to figure it out on your own as a member of Sovereign Soul Society, a one-to-one student, or you can purchase just my Libra Equinox guided manifestation harvesting and karmic clearing ritual in my shop today. But the full supermoon in Aries ritual will only be available to SSS members and one-to-one students. And all those links will be found in the show notes or description box below. But without further ado, here we go. So organizationally, this show may be kind of interesting. Initially, I was thinking I'd start with the Libra equinox and end with the super full moon in Aries. But they're only 6 days apart, so we have almost all the planets in the same signs, just at different degree points, which means we also have many of the same aspects and are working with very similar energies all the way through the corridor. And they're actually very similar to what we had going during the Virgo new moon. So this is really amazing for seeing those intentions all the way through to manifestations that you can actually harvest during this period. So what we're going to do in this episode is compare and contrast these energies. So I hope it will all make sense presented this way, but please feel free to comment on YouTube if you have any questions about anything I go over today. We have the Libra equinox at 2:50 a.m. Eastern Time on 9/23/23. And as I'm sure you know, this is when the day and night are equal in length. And Libra is also all about balance, so that's a beautiful synchronicity. I recently learned about the Russell-McFerrin effect, which is a phenomenon around the equinoxes specifically, where the solar winds create cracks in the magnetosphere, which means that Earth's magnetic field can directly connect with the sun's magnetic field to receive information directly from the sun, making this an optimal time to download high-level information more easily. So this energy alone can be used to receive really powerful downloads that help you bring in your manifestations during this time. Whether you're in the northern hemisphere celebrating Mabon, or celebrating Ostara in the southern hemisphere. So my Libra equinox ritual will actually work regardless of which equinox you use it for. And we've got even more energy supporting these rapid high-level downloads between now and the Aries full supermoon, which we're going to talk about very soon. But this also provides us with energetic upgrades much more quickly, which aids in the mass awakening and ascension that we're experiencing on Earth at this time. Okay, so let's hop into the compare and contrast portion of the show, starting with how many planets will be in each element. At the time of the equinox, there will be 1 in a masculine fire sign, 5 in the feminine earth signs, 2 in masculine air signs, and 2 in feminine water signs. So that's 3 in the masculine signs and 7 in feminine signs. And at 5:57 a.m. Eastern Time on September 29th, when the supermoon is full in Aries, there will be 2 planets in the masculine fire signs, 4 in feminine earth signs, 2 in masculine air signs, and 2 in the feminine water signs, for a total of 4 in masculine signs and 6 in feminine signs, which means we still have more feminine energy than masculine energy, but it's starting to balance out a bit more, as we only had 2 planets in masculine signs and 8 in the feminine signs during the Virgo new moon. And it's kind of interesting that that balance is starting to come in during Libra season, which again is all about balance. During both events, we have 4 planets in cardinal signs, 3 in fixed signs, and 3 in mutable signs. So that's about as balanced as you can get as well. At the time of the equinox, we have the sun moving into Libra at 0 degrees 0 minutes, and it'll still be in Libra for the full supermoon in Aries, but at 6 degrees 1 minute. And this is a balanced, harmonious, and peaceful energy. The energy of partnership, fairness, equality, and justice, and it's also a very social, cooperative, idealistic, and intellectual energy. So as you can see, this is really ideal for manifestations around balanced, harmonious, and peaceful relationships of any kind. Now let's go ahead and talk about the sun's aspects that are the same during both the equinox and the full supermoon. So the sun in Libra will be trine to Pluto retrograde at 28 degrees in Capricorn at this time. And this is a very passionate, some may even say sexual and intense energy that helps us focus on our intentions and manifest our desires. And it's a courageous energy that encourages us to embrace personal growth, especially psychological. But it can also bring rapid healing, especially physically. So if you're manifesting physical health right now, this is a good time to reinforce that and allow natural energies to assist you. And I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but my cat is very playful right now. So I apologize if that's distracting, and you're welcome if it's cute. It's also the energy of finding symbols, reading between the lines, and solving mysteries. So remain receptive, especially if there are things you want to come to some sort of resolution on. And this may sound and or feel familiar to you from the new moon in Virgo, but this energy is very perceptive and continues to bring us awe-inspiring insights and downloads. So again, be sure to remain in receptive mode. Plus, they're creative, ambitious, ready to transform or improve matters, and can readily turn around a situation. So if that's something you've been working on since or before the new moon, these energies are still here to support you in that as well. And just during the Libra equinox, the Sun in Libra is also trine to Uranus retrograde at 22 degrees 49 minutes, or rounded up to 23 degrees in Taurus. And this energy is creative, progressive, rebellious, individualistic, questions tradition and the establishment. It helps us embrace new ways of doing things and invites us to express ourselves in unique and inspiring ways. This is also the energy of sticking up for the underdog. It brings adventure, enthusiasm, open-mindedness, and inclusivity, and it's also a magnetic, intuitive, inventive, unique, and innovative energy that allows us to see where improvements and progress can be made. So very supportive of manifestations around improving your daily life and making progress of any kind. The Sun in Libra is opposing Neptune retrograde at 26 degrees 11 minutes in Pisces, which is a daydreamy, idealistic, again, energy that may make us desire something out of the ordinary and could lead to escapism, glossing over problems, and or idealizing people or situations, which may also sound familiar to you, as we had a similar energy with the Sun in Virgo opposing Neptune at the time of the new moon. So just continue to be mindful of that during the equinox, especially if you have similar placements in your own birth chart. This is also a creative and compassionate energy that brings unique and fascinating insights and invites us to birth the next phase of our spiritual evolution through unconditional love. And the Sun in Libra is in a tight quincunx with Saturn retrograde at 1 degree 55 minutes, so we may as well round that up to 2 degrees in Pisces, which is a reality check that invites us to evaluate if we're putting our spiritual ideals into practice in our daily lives. So again, very supportive of our overall spiritual evolution. And now let's talk about the Sun's position and aspects during just the full moon in Aries. Like I said before, the Sun will be at 6 degrees 1 minute of Libra during the full supermoon, giving us the exact same energy to play with as we had during the equinox. But at this time, it will be in direct opposition to the full moon at 5 degrees 59 minutes, or rounded up to 6 degrees in Aries. And this is true of all full moons. They're always in opposition to the placement of the Sun during that time. So this is the me-we axis, with Aries being the me and I am part of the equation, whereas Libra is all about we and us and relationships. Aries is also about taking a stand, and Libra is all about justice. So in this way, they work very well together. But we also have a push-pull kind of energy between our internal needs and our external desires, which may feel very different at this time. And the full moon is highlighting these differences. So this energy may bring up questions, doubts, and insecurities around our desires, so we can clear and release them to make room for what we set intentions to manifest during the Virgo new moon. Now let's talk more about the moon. During the equinox, we have the moon at 6 degrees 0 minutes in Capricorn, which is a very productive, efficient, structured, controlled, organized, reliable, and steady energy that may help us keep our emotions in check, which is super handy for manifesting anything we may have a lot of charged emotion around for any reason. And it's trine to Mercury in Virgo, which is a very expressive, playful, vivacious, adaptable, and versatile energy that encourages growth. but it's also the energy of imagination, curiosity, and intelligence, which may be able to help us remember information more easily around this time, or may trigger memories to pop up around the equinox. It's also trine to Lilith at 28 degrees 45 minutes, which can be rounded up to 29 degrees in Leo. And this aspect is favorable to manifesting romance and sexual relationships. And it's trine to midheaven at 2 degrees 34 minutes in Taurus, which is favorable to manifestations involving family, especially anything having to do with children, as well as positive changes and forward movement in business. We also have a grand trine during the Libra equinox with the moon in Capricorn, Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, and Mercury in Virgo. And this energy is about grounding the big thinking energy of Jupiter-Mercury. Additionally, the moon in Capricorn is sextile to Saturn retrograde in Pisces at the equinox, so that's more intellectual energy that can help us control our feelings and manifest success at this time. And finally, aside from its opposition to the sun, the full supermoon in Aries, which is the 4th supermoon in a row, by the way, will be conjunct Neptune retrograde at 26 degrees 1 minute in Pisces, which is a compassionate energy of devotion that's also very imaginative, perceptive, intuitive, and insightful. So it may bring in strong and sudden hunches that are very accurate. Moving on to Mercury, during the Libra equinox, it's still in its shadow period, but it's at home and exalted at 12 degrees 12 minutes in Virgo. And that's a very practical, grounded, and intellectual energy. But it actually moves out of its shadow period at 20 degrees 34 minutes of Virgo right after the full moon at 1:15 a.m. Eastern Time on September 30th. And it's trining Jupiter retrograde in Taurus during both the equinox and the full moon, so this intelligent energy may be bringing in more big ideas with it, especially around creating new systems, but can also help with manifestations around your social life. At the time of the full moon only, Mercury in Virgo is opposing Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and this is another dreamy and imaginative energy, similar to the Sun and Neptune opposition energy present during the equinox. It's also trine to Uranus retrograde at 22 degrees 41 minutes in Taurus, and this perspicacious energy binds intelligence and originality together with genius to bring in even more brilliant and innovative insights, downloads, ideas, and solutions that can positively turn around situations during this time, which is similar to the Sun-Pluto trine energy. This energy is kind of like being directly plugged into the mind of God, so you may be getting very rapid galactic downloads around this time. And Mercury in Virgo is also trine to Pluto retrograde at 28 degrees 5 minutes in Capricorn, which is a perceptive, observant, and crafty energy that allows us to quickly grasp and easily size up a situation, similar to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction energy. And it's in an Earth grand trine with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, and the ascendant at 24 degrees 34 minutes in Virgo. And this energy brings new ideas related to finances, so it can be used to help call in manifestations of prosperity specifically. So this means it's also conjunct the ascendant in Virgo, which is an intelligent, quick, lively, open energy that encourages us to exchange ideas with friends and strangers alike. And that brings us to Venus, which is at 18 degrees 26 minutes in Leo at the time of the equinox, and 22 degrees 26 minutes in Leo during the full moon. So that means it will transit from the second decan of Leo to the third during this corridor, taking us from the visionary energy of the second decan to the very focused energy of the third. And when it's used wisely, it makes us pretty much unstoppable, particularly if you have similar positions in your own chart. But we can all take advantage of this powerful transition by concentrating on our desires in a certain way, meaning that we're certain that they are manifesting. Venus will be trine to the North Node at 25 degrees in Aries for both the equinox and full moon, which is a harmonious and diplomatic energy that can help us meet the right people during this time, so it can be used for any manifestations that have to do with partnerships of any kind, friendships, and/or calling in soul family. Also, during the Libra equinox and the Aries full moon, Venus in Leo will sextile Mars in Libra, creating a passionate and amorous energy that can assist with manifesting a romantic relationship that's full of passion, but this energy is not necessarily peaceful or calm, so take care when working with it. And Venus will be squaring Uranus retrograde in Taurus during both of these events, which is an eccentric energy of novelty, adventure, and radical change that loves defying convention. So that can help us find exciting, innovative, new solutions, breakthroughs, and ways of doing things. But it can also be unstable, inconsistent, and it may invite impulsivity, especially if you have similar placements in your chart. So just keep that in mind if you're calling this energy in for your mindful manifestation practice. And just during the equinox, we have Venus in Leo trining Chiron retrograde at 18 degrees 28 minutes in Aries. And this is the energy of healing childhood trauma, especially around not feeling like you have the right to exist for any reason, by stepping into your sovereignty. And Venus's trine to the North Node is energizing this possibility. So if this resonates with you, this can be an extraordinarily healing time for you. And I would recommend using it to clear any childhood trauma that may still be holding you back from manifesting your desires. Because if you feel like you don't have the right to exist, that will definitely block your manifestations. Venus will be in a couple of squares during the equinox too, one with Jupiter retrograde at 15 degrees in Taurus, bringing in a big-hearted, warm, and generous energy that's very optimistic, but be mindful that it may promote excess during this time, and be careful not to overpromise because it can make us want to do more than is actually possible, especially if you have similar placements in your chart. So moderation is particularly important right now. And Venus will be conjunct the ascendant at 13 degrees 4 minutes in Leo during the Libra equinox. And this beautiful energy is really harmonious, balanced, amiable, sociable, and very aligned with Libra energy. So it will also be instrumental in manifesting any type of relationship. And finally, during the full moon only, we have Venus sextiling midheaven at 23 degrees 43 minutes in Gemini. So this energy is favorable to manifesting warm, affectionate, deep, romantic love based on intellectual understanding, common tastes, and connections, as well as a good reputation in the professional world. So as you can see, these energies really do run the gamut of every type of relationship or partnership you could possibly be wanting to manifest right now. Now let's talk about Mars, which is at 17 degrees 24 minutes in Libra during the equinox, and 21 degrees 28 minutes in Libra during the full moon. So it will also be transiting from the second to the third decan of the sign it's in during this time. And this is the energy of reflection and procrastination. But remember that procrastination is not always a negative thing. Sometimes it saves us from doing things that are out of alignment, especially when it's coupled with reflection. But it's also a very peaceful, harmonious, and balanced energy that may help us resolve conflicts during this time. And during the equinox specifically, Mars in Libra will sextile the ascendant in Leo, bringing a very direct kind of energy with it. And at the time of the full moon, we have Mars in Libra trine to midheaven in Gemini, which is the energy of organization that can help balance the sometimes indecisive Libra energy by helping us make necessary decisions fast. And even though this is an independent energy, it can be used to manifest social and professional success. Moving right along to Jupiter, which we've already touched on a bit, it can be rounded up to 15 degrees of Taurus for both the Libra equinox and the Aries full moon. And it's bringing a generous but discriminating energy that attracts the most good fortune. So definitely be sure to harness it for any manifestations you're calling in, especially those having to do with abundance and prosperity, but watch out for overindulgence. And there are a couple of aspects we haven't talked about yet. One of which is that Jupiter retrograde is conjunct Uranus retrograde in Taurus for both events, and this is a non-conforming energy of independence and freedom of action that can help us quickly size up any situation at a glance. And just during the equinox, Jupiter will be square to the ascendant in Leo, which brings even more energy of generosity, tolerance, understanding, and wisdom that can help us manifest abundance in all aspects of life. So this is really beautiful and powerful energy that is supportive of our manifestations. Next, let's talk about Saturn retrograde, which we're going to round up to 2 degrees of Pisces for both the equinox and full moon. And this is a solitary and contemplative energy that invites us to work alone. So you may want to just be careful of who you share your manifestations with during this time, and always be careful not to share them with anyone who might cast doubt on them, no matter what the energies are doing, just because nobody needs that. And there are also a couple of aspects we still haven't discussed involving Saturn, which are its sextile to midheaven in Taurus during the Libra equinox, and its trine to midheaven in Gemini during the full moon in Aries. And both actually bring an ambitious, deliberate, calculated, serious, and orderly energy of perseverance and wisdom. Now we have Uranus, which we're rounding up to 23 degrees in Taurus for both events, and that's a strong-willed energy that can help us overcome obstacles, but we need to be sure to use it to innovate instead of resist. Also, during both events, we have Uranus retrograde in Taurus trine to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is more energy of perseverance that can be used to manifest improvements to our daily lives. And Uranus sextile to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, and that's an idealistic energy with a wildly creative perspective, which can help us find new and innovative ways to make those improvements. But just during the Aries full moon, Uranus retrograde in Taurus will be trine to the ascendant in Virgo, which is a constantly changing energy that's innovative, inventive, and somewhat unstable. So that also supports finding innovative new solutions. Just be mindful of the potential for a bit of instability with that. Also during the full moon, Uranus will be quincunx to Mars in Libra, and that's a restless, rebellious energy of freedom and revolution. That brings us to Neptune retrograde, which will be at 26 degrees in Pisces for both the equinox and full moon. And it is the ruler of Pisces in modern astrology, so it's at home and exalted there. And it's also a solitary energy that can even be isolating. So just keep that in mind, particularly if you have this placement in your chart. So for both events, Neptune retrograde in Pisces is sextile to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is a perceptive energy that helps us see layers to a situation. And this is another one we've had since the new moon in Virgo. So if you're calling in a solution to a multi-layered challenge, you may very well see it arrive at this time if you remain open and receptive. And finally, we have Pluto retrograde at 28 degrees of Capricorn for both events. And that's the energy of success. So obviously, it's also very favorable to seeing your desires manifest during this time. And the only aspect we haven't talked about yet involving Pluto is that during the Aries full supermoon only, it will be trine to the ascendant in Virgo, and that's the energy of willpower and ambition. So again, very supportive of calling in manifestations, particularly having to do with career, business, prosperity, and things of that nature. So to recap this very long episode, the corridor between the Libra equinox and Aries full supermoon is very supportive to seeing the intentions you set during the new moon in Virgo manifest in physical reality. And the energies are really favorable to just about any kind of manifestation you can think of, including health, wealth, and relationships of all kinds, ranging from professional, platonic, strictly sexual, and deep romantic love. And this time is also very supportive of clearing and releasing anything that may be stopping you from receiving your manifestations, including childhood trauma. So utilize all of these energies well, and you could literally be living in an entirely different, higher vibrational reality on the other side of this corridor. And if you want my help with that, please be sure to check the show notes or description box below for all the ways you can access my Libra equinox and Aries full moon rituals. Only the equinox ritual is available in my shop though, so if you want access to all my moon manifestation rituals, activations, quantum healing sessions, masterclasses, one-to-one support, and everything else I do, you'll want to join Sovereign Soul Society or claim one of my very limited one-to-one spots. And you can find all of those links below, because you deserve to live in a reality of purpose, freedom, fulfillment, mastery, peace, the highest joy, magic, and abundance in every aspect of your life, simply by being your true self, and I believe in you, so you should too. Much love.